Right, everything should be working as intended. Good evening, ladies, gentlemen, and Xenos of all ages, to another Tactica Imperialis live stream. Hopefully everything should be working as normal. Let me know if there are any sound or frame issues, and, well, I'll see what I can do. And Rowan has already beaten me to the punch. I didn't even get a chance to do the bloody plug. Well done, Rowan. Thank you very much. So, yes, the Discord link is going to be irregularly plonked into the chat because we figured that something we can do just to advertise the Discord without sort of just sticking it front and center of everything is we'll promote it through live streams. So that link should be valid at least for the duration of the stream and probably for the rest of the day. So there'll be maybe a chance to catch it in the VOD depending on what time I manage to get this published and whether monetization works, because streams are one of the most demonetizable things on the channel. It's weird. I get the most yellow dollar signs on streams of everything. It is the most demonetized thing and the things I have to wait for a review for the most. Also, I've got my wires crossed, so I'm just going to take my headphones out for a second. Shouldn't affect how I'm going to sound, just going to bug me, so I'm going to deal with it. So yes, as I said in the title of the stream, we have plenty to talk about, do we not? AoS 2 is, well, it's coming along. It's really, really coming along. I made my video that came out on Monday, but there's been plenty since then that I discussed since Friday's stream. And there's also that we can talk about. I've talked about it a bit in the Discord, so the Discord people will already know some of my thoughts, but I want to do it here because, well, that's just the way I do it. And I did say in the video on Monday that I wanted to keep the YouTube audience up to date because, well, that's the primary audience. What can I say? Everything seems to be fine. We've got people here. It's good. Yep, it's all coming up lovely. The other thing I want to do during this stream is we have a decision to make. As the secondary part of the title of the stream says, we're doing some Stormcast assembly, and that I wasn't planning to do because, well, I finally finished Project Stormcast, and I actually finished the last Vanguard Palador off. I finished the Prime off last night. But I thought with the Sacrosanct Chamber coming out for AoS 2, I thought, well, I'm going to be doing Stormcast for a little bit longer anyway, so what's the point? I might as well get some more Stormcast. And after a little bit of thinking, I bought some more Dracothian Guard, the Dracoth Cavalry. However, I'm not sure how I want to build them yet, because I've got a couple of options I want to discuss all of that stuff. Yeah, I know I'm extremely lucky, but part of the reason that the way I upload the way I do is I put them on scheduled, so they usually get re-monetized in time. So the stream itself might get flagged, and thus the stream doesn't really happen. It doesn't get many views after I put it back live. But the regular videos, generally, if they're going to get demonetized, they get demonetized with probably, because I upload several days in advance or maybe a week in advance, they've had time to go through the manual review process, therefore they're clean by the time I put them live so that the rest of the audience can see them. So I am lucky because my scheduling allows me to avoid much of the monetization issues. Not that I particularly care about the monetization because I don't, this isn't, well, it is a job, but it isn't a job. It's a hobby that I happen to get paid for. So I'm not super fussed about the demonetization stuff. It's just, it's nice that they're not getting demonetized and that it's not affecting the videos at all, which is nice. It's more annoying if they don't get pushed to sub boxes or if they don't get seen for whatever reason. That's the frustrating thing, is when they don't get seen, but I can live with them being annoying around the monetization because it doesn't matter to me. Like, it's not my livelihood depends on it. I've got enough funds from Student Finance England and Erasmus to keep me going, if that makes any sense. And to the Discord people, I have actually closed Discord, so I'm not going to be in there, so if you're leaving anything in there, I'm not going to see it, just for the record. Yeah, casting and binding, that was today. We've also had Lookout Sir. We've had a look into, oh, what else have we had? Lookout Sir, casting and unbinding. We did command points for Monday's video. That I've already got. God, what else was there? I'm struggling to remember now. I'm struggling to remember all of the things that have happened with AoS 2. I can't even keep up. Excellent, the Demon Prince is nearly done. Good to hear it. But yeah, it's all going on with AoS. There's been a lot of faction previews, so Khorne, Nurgle, Slaanesh, and Tzeentch have all had theirs now, 6, 7, 8, 9 respectively. We got to see Slaanesh for the first time, Slaanesh's prison. That was from the AoS Facebook page, and that was a lovely piece of artwork. Those 5 commanders. 5 commanders? Oh yeah, that was on Facebook today. There's sort of an example of command traits energy. We've got a little bit of a look at Archaon as well, where his command ability seems to be activate all other command abilities for 1 CP. My important story today, that's true. The my important story, I don't know about Cetra, because Neferata, if I remember correctly, Neferata he hails from that sort of region as well, like Nakahara. That's also Neferata's domain as much as Cetra's, though Cetra would be interesting. We did also get Warhammer Adventures. That's true. Warhammer Adventures was announced. That's an interesting one. That's been divisive to say the least. Session called Faction Focuses. Yep. Both gave some little interesting insights. I'm just trying to think about the actual rule articles rather than the faction focuses, because there's little snippets buried away in the faction focuses, but a lot of the main rule changes aren't in them, if that makes sense. I don't think... Actually, I've got Warhammer Community open. Why am I even thinking about this? Casting and Unbinding. That's Khorne. Lookout Surd, Nurgle, Slaanesh. Bias, his command abilities. Yeah, I got command abilities. Okay, I haven't missed much. I didn't think there was anything that I'd particularly missed in my estimation, but yeah, that's good. I'm not missing anything, and everything's working, which is lovely. Oh, it's the other Ben, the not so much AoS playing Wolf Ben. Excellent. This should be interesting. And Wolfsbane actually has come out. Someone gave it. There's been a bit of lore come out of Wolfsbane that I actually can talk about. The nerf to Smite and Mystic Shield. Arcane Bolt. Technically, it's not Smite. It's Arcane Bolt in this game. But yes, they've both been nerfed. I can also say that I actually bought a new book today. When I went to buy my Draco Cavalry, I actually went and bought a new battle tome. Just for reading purposes, you understand. Entirely for reading purposes. Don't worry, I'm not buying another army. Chill. I've already got the Eye Death of the Daughters again and the Sacrosanct to worry about. But I actually went and picked up the battle tome for Fire Slayers. I thought, well, I want to get my lore up to speed for the various factions in the Mortal Realms. And because I'm not so fussed for Chaos and I'm playing Order, I thought, well, let's get the Order factions fleshed out. So I'm probably going to either borrow or buy the battle tomes for Seraphon, Sylvaneth, and all the Order factions, just so I can get all of Order's lore. Kieran can do something similar with Chaos, and hopefully we'll be getting smatterings of Destruction books and Death books that leads to Nagash in particular I do want to read. So I'm just doing that, so I'm not going to be that insightful on Fireslayer lore, but if you want to learn a little bit, then I can provide that as well. Slaanesh got its depravity point system. We don't know how that's going to work yet, but we know how it's going to work, but we don't know how you pay for it. Yes, the barely dressed dwarves. That is correct. That is the Fire Slayers. But yeah, depravity points is an interesting one, where you gain them by dealing damage, but without killing. What's better than dwarves? Dwarves that ride salamanders, technically. I actually did some reading on this. It's in the battle tome. The magma droths that they ride around on are actually descendants of Volcatrix, which is the great salamander that Grimnir died fighting. The two of them sort of killed each other in this massive fight on Akshi, which is why Grimnir's essence was shattered all over the mortal realms as Urgold, and thus the Magma Droths are the kin of Volcatrix, and the Fire Slayers are of Grimnir. Therefore, the two coming together is kind of an interesting symbiosis. So that's how that works. It's a very interesting little story. So they're not technically dragons, they're salamanders, but close enough. Plus, they're actually quite good, so if I do ever decide to get some Fire Slayer allies, then, well, I can, and they're not going to suck. Because Fire Slayers generally seem to do quite well at tournaments. Also, I'm going to move my phone before it sets the microphone off. So yeah, is there any way you'd like me to start with the news, or you just want some? Do you want to do the modelling stuff, like have a talk about the models that we're getting into the army, or that sort of thing? How many people have we got here? 15. Okay, that's cool. Oh dear. Alright, well, to be fair, I mean, the dwarves get a really good rub in terms of mounts because they get the magma droths, then the Caradron get to fly around in airships. The dwarves are doing well for themselves. The elves have got the fish, and they've got their horses, and some of them have wings or tails, but I think in terms of mounts, the dwarves are doing pretty well, although the Stormcast have it even better. Yeah, I haven't really missed much, just some little introductory things, just getting some basic discussion, and also pointing out the debate we need to have regarding the Dracothian Guard, and the fact that I bought the Fire Slayers battle tome. So, nothing much. Potential shopping list for Sacrosanct. As I said in the video yesterday, the basic plan will be, I need a Lord Arcanum, that's not up for debate. I need a Ballista, that's not up for debate. After that, I'm thinking I'll probably need the Sequitors, the battle line, or potentially those Warrior Mage Paladin hybrids. So that's sort of what I'm going for. I'm not going to get, unless I think they're ridiculous, the Noob Tubes. And I'm not sure about the Knight Incantor, either in the sort of Arms Out Caster or in the very sort of Warhammer Fest with the massive, like, not Infinity Gauntlet. Because I think that model looks really derpy. And I think I'd need to do a head swap on the Knight Incantor because I don't like the face. And in terms of the other heroes, I don't know. Lord Arcanum, Ballista, and the Warrior Mages, and probably the Cavalry. I haven't seen anything about the Cavalry yet, so I don't know how they work or what they're even called. But I think I will probably get the Cavalry just so I've got a bit of all the types of Cavalry, because I really, really like Cavalry. You might have noticed, I really like Cavalry. Yeah, there's something to be said for Sacrosanct, and there's also something to be said for Cavalry. It's a heavy bolter in the 41st millennium. You're in the wrong universe, I'm afraid. And I know it's technically not a ballista in the most conventional sense, but it seems logical for me to call it a ballista because that's what it looks like. A ballista or a scorpion, or something like that. Castigator's Knight Incantor and the Blizzard. The Knight Incantor looks really powerful. I'll agree, the Incantor looks very powerful. I just don't like the model. I do like it though, in terms of the War Scroll. The War Scroll's excellent, but I think I'd need to do it the bare minimum a head swap for me to be happy with it. The Ballista, I agree with you, and the Castigator, I just find them so derpy. It's like they've got noob tube crossbows. I don't know. They're not for me. I can see why you might want them to give you some nice blast damage, and they're also probably very useful just for holding a line and all that sort of thing. But, I don't know, they're not for me. They're really not for me. Hark Away the Doors are doing well, but there's problems that neither of that fits with the old school. Well, yeah, but no, but. Because the dwarves still do mine for Urgold. They trade for it, but they also mine for it. They have the Slayers, who still use it the same way. They have their complex technology in the form of the Caradron Overlords. So they're not the classic sort of Tolkien-esque dwarves who all live underground and that sort of thing. But they are different. They're different, but they're still dwarves. They feel like dwarves whilst also being different, and that's good. That's why I like them. It's like the Daughters of Cain and the Ideneth feel like elves, but they're different elves. There might be a Shadespire warband. Okay. Not sure why it would be Castigators and not Sequitors, given the Sequitors are the battle line unit. But I'm in no position to argue because I have no idea. And I'm in no position to comment. As in on table the clash. Okay, yeah, so they don't fit with the other dwarves or with each other. Well, to be fair, the Slayers never fit in with the rest of a dwarf army. They stuck out like a sore thumb. Well, a very sore orange axe-swinging thumb. So the Caradron not looking like the Slayers is fine, and the Slayers not looking like the classic Duardin is fine. Although I can sort of see the disparity between the classic Duardin and the Kairodron. I do get it, but bear in mind as well, the classic Duardin are probably going to end up in Legend, or at least as a together army, they're going to end up in Legend. So, yeah. It's based on the models that were shown at Warhammer Fest. Okay, well, I must have missed that one then. Sorry, that must have got past me in all the hype around AoS 2, so I apologise for that. Must have missed that little snippet of detail. So yeah, is there any, so yeah, what do you want me to do? Is there any launch, any Fireside you want me to do, or do you want me to talk about the AoS 2 changes, or do we want to have this Dracothian Guard debate? Just whatever takes your fancy, really. Easy. I feel like having a bit of a chill stream tonight, just get everyone up to speed and all that fun stuff. Well, assuming everything works anyway. And so far everything seems to be working fine. And we've got 20 people here. That's lovely. Good to see that things working. Yeah, the classic Duardin are the dispossessed. Yes, 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 fair play. Just the dispossessed, sort of like how... I don't know, I feel like the dispossessed or the dwarves will find themselves in Hall of Fame. Unless they're split back up again. I don't know. I don't know. You have a point. I don't know. I just feel like the old models will be retired to Legend even if the dispossessed still exist. The debate with the cavalry is as follows. Do I get fulminators, which are the lance cavalry, who hit really, really hard on the charge and are tanky as all hell, or do I go for tempesters, who are the shooty variant, who have a bucket load of shots and provide great suppressive fire, whilst also providing a little bit of combat punch, though it's obviously not on the same level as other Dracos. They're also cheaper, and it's just a case, which one do I want to go into next? Do I want the really hard-hitting line breaker that also doubles as a tank, or do I want suppressive fire, maneuverability, and a mixed attacker? That's the question. As an Emperor's Children player with Slaneshi demons, any tips on getting into AoS and what to expand my demons with? We have a Slanesh player in the chat, don't we? Can Ludvan, can you help with that? My sort of logic, I've never looked at Slanesh, but in terms of getting into AoS, you really just need to put your models on the table and play with it and see if you like the way the game feels. As for what to expand with, well, I don't know what you've got. But I think it would be good, make sure you got your demonettes. I really like the chariots. And then you could look into a soul grind to give you some range potential. But the Slanesh's main gimmick is being ungodly fast. That's their gimmick. It's being ungodly fast. Tank? Why are you shouting about tanks? There is a tank, it's called the Steam Tank, and that lives in Ironwood Arsenal, I think. So my army, well, it's not lacking shooting, it's lacking powerful shooting, but it's not lacking actual volume of guns. Like, I've got all my Vanguard Hunters are armed. If I have my Judicators in the army, they've got guns. Vanguard Raptors have guns. I don't have, and the Paladors have guns, and there's javelins. The Lola Keylor has guns. Yeah, there's so many options for shooting. It's just I don't know if I can do the same control shooting option where I can do hit and run strikes, whereas the Tempesters will allow me to pin units down and slow them down. Oh, right. Well, when you shout tank as a 40k player, how am I not going to know you're chatting about a tank? Yeah, alright, sure. Yes, fulminators. That's who I mean. That's who he means. If you have to transport them, well, I'm kind of beyond all hope at this point. It's just going to be a lot of bubble wrap and hope. Anyway, so I was on a big biffy model of some kind, so Keeper of Secrets, more than one. Okay. Yeah, I don't have one of those. Like a Star Draco, the Celestin Prime. I don't have one of those big monsters, really. But I do get what you mean by that. Like, you want something big and board wiping. Soul Grinder would also work. Soul Grinder is unholy tough. I mean, I've had to fight one, and I fought the original Soul Grinder back with my Dark Elves. That thing was a monster to deal with. Okay, Fulminators. The downside with Fulminators is that if they don't charge, they do absolutely nothing. That's the downside to Fulminators. They're damage 3 on the charge, and that's insanity. But outside of damage 1, outside of the charge turn, they're damage 1. And they're really, really not that powerful. They have no rend, damage 1. They're crap on the turn they don't charge. On the turn they charge, they hit like a 10-ton truck. But if they're not charging, they're kind of crap. Have lots of math heroes. Yeah, I have a Lord Celestin on Dracoth, and I have 2 Lord of Keylords available to me. Though I don't know if I call them like big beat stick models. They've only got 6 or 7 wounds each and a 3-up save, so they're not that tough. 3-up Cog Fortress. I'm not really sure what that is, but I get the feeling it's massive and thus way too big for the rest of the scale of the game, even compared to the Mega Doom Dragon. Yeah, okay. These, I'm kind of part of me is leaning toward the crossbowmen. Not for aesthetic reasons, really, just because I think they give me more options. Because they can go into melee and fight. Not that well, but they can fight. They've got the Dracoth's attacks are not terrible, and they've also got their ranged attack that does some chip damage and can also do suppressive fire, and that's really, really useful. So I'm leaning toward taking them, but I'm very willing to be swayed to Fulminators if people go that way. And yeah, I'd need to play aggressive. I'd need to, one, have a screen, so I'd need a screen of Gryph-hounds or Aetherwings to make sure they don't get charged, and then I could fall back with those Aetherwings and throw the Fulminators into the face. So I'd either need to use them as in a super carefully placed countercharge unit like I use my concussors, because I can't use them as a line anchor. My concussors are great at anchoring a line because they're stupid tough and they're damage 2 all the time and can do mortal wounds all the time. They are much better on the defense, taking a charge and whacking you in the face, or throwing themselves into melee and doing massive damage. It's why they're the most expensive. The Fulminators need the charge. And the way I play, and the people I play against, which is Khorne, Nurgle, I'll be going against Beastclaw and some variant on Death, probably Nighthaunts, at least in part. I don't know, I just feel like I wouldn't be able to play them the right way to get the use out of them. No, I'm not bringing a Gryph-hound army, no. If you're ever in London, I'm probably not going to be down in London town, but fair play. Lightning Chariot does help, but the Lightning Chariot is unreliable. That's all I'll say. The Lightning Chariot was unreliable for me, and you only get to use it once. Like, you use it once, you blitz up the board, and basically you then have to catch your Lord Relicta up and keep your cavalry locked in place after you've got the charge. So it's a one-use move to get one good charge off. Is one good charge enough for them to be worth it? That's what worries me. Is that one good charge that they're going to get enough? Because they're not going to get 2 unless they smash something and I get a double turn and smash something again. I'm not going to get a second go. Sarkar says to Darkness, you can align to Slaanesh. Yes, you can give them the mark of Slaanesh. Although I don't know if they come under hosts of Slaanesh. Hang on, let me have a look in the General's handbook. Yep, I've got all my books out, ready. Oh god, all of the mods. All of the mods. There's too many of them. That's not going to help. So yeah, in Slaanesh's army selection, that's Zinch. Slaanesh, ooh, maybe not. The hosts of Slaanesh actually is all the demons, plus the Chaos Lord. So yeah, Seekers, Seeker Chariot, Hellstrider, Hellflayer, Fiends, Exalted Chariot, Keepers, Mask, Herald, in various variants, Demonettes, and then the named Chaos Lord. also the unnamed Chaos Lord. Everything else you can give the Mark of Slaanesh, but they live in Slaves to Darkness. So I don't know how you build a Slaaneshi army. Whereas in Blades of Khorne, what's in Blades of Khorne? Are like basic dudes in there? No, basic dudes are not in there, but there's plenty of mortal stuff. So unless Slaanesh gets a mortal release, Slaves to Darkness with Slaanesh you can do, but the Hosts of Slaanesh, which is like the army that they're getting a look at, don't fit. It's a bit of a weird one, and I don't know all the details. But Slaves to Darkness and Slaanesh are two entirely different things. Yep, Rowan's just dropping the Discord in every now and then. Thinking of Devoted of Sigmar, I don't know how that army plays out. What's in that army? What's in Devoted of Sigmar? Because I have no idea. Ultra? Free Peoples... War Priest, Warrior Priest, Witch Hunter, War Altar, Flagellants. You buff your stuff to hell and you go face. That seems to be the logic. You buff your stuff to hell and you go face. That's pretty much how the Devoted seem to work. I don't know. I've not really looked into the human factions. Get a Demon Prince of Slaanesh, that's fair. What would you say? That means absolutely nothing to me. That means absolutely nothing to me, I'm afraid. So, if anyone gets the reference, do let me know, but it's not a reference I understand, I'm sorry. Come on, there we go. Basically, IJIT contract spam to the max. But all with melee weapons, and quite decent melee weapons, as opposed to range, because you have no guns. Yeah, Flagellants don't seem that good. I mean, you could probably get like Warrior Priests and War Altars to give them buffs, but they'll be a bit like old Daughters of Cain, where they could do some damage, but it was never really going to be enough, even with all the buffs on. Oh, the Adventures AoS characters. I've not actually looked into them. I've not actually looked into the AoS characters all that much. I know people have been talking about the 40k cast a lot more, so I sort of roughly know what's going on with them. But I didn't really look so hard into the AoS side because I was just in a bit of a rush. Let's have a look. I'm just going to have a quick look on here rather than go digging around on screen. Age of Sigmar. Oh, buzz off. Elio, okay. Gyron, okay, Healer, Potion Master, Herb Lore, Keen Fascination. Okay, so your Healer. Mark of Heish, Inquisitive, Highly Intelligent, Innate Engineer, an Inventor. Not a fighter, which was a think away around a problem. Okay, I like that girl. Kiri, oh, he's got a Stormcast little lion shoulder there. Mark of Shaman, strong and steadfast, learn to fight, honest. Now, probably I'm a bit more of if I had to say Alish, I'd say. Probably inquisitive. I'm not going to say intelligent, but that sort of is my sort of thought process, trying to think my way around a problem rather than fight, because I'm not medical, I'm more physical, like an engineer and things like that. So I'd say that. Possibly the cleanest. Well, yeah, probably. I mean, they've got to play it somewhat safe. I'm not saying water it down to all hell, but they've got to sort of play it a little bit careful because, well, the rate that the Bloodbound go to, they have to be careful. Yeah, basically the way the server works, it's just a case of members of the community can go in there. And me and the mod team are in there, and I can get some other YouTubers maybe in there, And basically what you do is there's different chat rooms for 40k, for AoS, the showing off painting projects, videos of interest. It's just sort of an all-round like message board and community meeting hub. That's all it really is. There's nothing super special about it. There's no right of access. It's just we don't promote it super hard because it's quite new, and it's kind of in beta. So I've got it on a bit of a probation. So if it all goes to hell, I will close it. Or I'll ask the mods to close it. But that's the sort of thought process behind it. It's a place where the community can get together, bounce ideas off of each other, like we do in live streams, but a lot more effectively and without just a really delayed chat and then me doing all the talking. It's kind of good to have that back and forth as voice chats. And what I'm trying to do is be in there as much as I can now that I've got some free time, so I can go in there, maybe host private streams or just like recording sessions, discussions and that sort of thing. So yeah, it's not anything special. That if you're in another YouTuber's Discord, whether that's, well, anybody, a lot of YouTubers have Discords these days and a lot of YouTubers and streamers do, but if you're in any of them, they probably work a very similar way. There's not so much of meme-y stuff. There's a meme room, sure, but we don't pander so hard to memes because it's Tactica Imperialis and we sort of we're the quote-unquote straight guy. I'm not even going to comment on that. It's been funny seeing other people how it's supposed to be, how it sort of works. Chaos Stormcast, no. Chaos Stormcast doesn't work for probably 3 reasons. Mainly revolving around when they die. Because at the moment, if a Stormcast dies, their soul is automatically returned to Azir. If it's not sent there, well, Nagash probably gets it. For the Chaos Gods to get it, they've got to deal with breaking out Sigmar's magic and subverting Nagash. That takes some serious doing, and at that point, that Stormcast can be either killed permanently if it cannot be salvaged, or reforged into a new Order-aligned Stormcast free from corruption who can just go again. So it might be possible, but we've seen no evidence of it, and I'm not sure we will. It might. I mean, it might, but I don't think it will, personally. I think it's a bit like Chaos Primaris. It might happen, but not soon. I don't see it soon. I really don't. The Stormcast do some really dark stuff. They really do some dark stuff, like purging towns thought corrupted and all that sort of thing. But yeah, Torglug. I don't know that name. Do you mind telling me that story? I don't know the name. Interesting. Anyway, I might as well get on with assembling these Dracoths, because the Dracoths themselves, the assembly doesn't matter. They're only at the very last stage where we have to choose the weapon. So I can at least get started on the assembly now. Are there any core components? That's the rider frame. That's one Dracoth, that's the other Dracoth, okay. You go over there. You come up here. Actually, I need one for the moment. I'll get them both out and then I've got it. Yeah, Corrupted Stormcast will be utterly terrifying. It's certainly not something I want to run across. Because it would be very hard to stop them. Hello! So, which set of frames have I got? I've got the frame with the body in the 20s. Stormcast that was corrupted by Nurgle during his invasion of Valariel's domain, got Galmarazed and reworked. Okay. So it can happen. That's good to know. So there you go. Chaos Stormcast can and does happen, but it's rare. Okay. Had a Khorne champion trying to become one of the ever-chosen get sent back in time by Zinj. His past self was taken by Sigma, then he replaced... Oh, Jesus. Oh, Jesus. Steampunk squats. You mean the Caradron Overlords, I'm assuming. And they're technically dwarves, not squats. Well, Duardin is their official name. Yeah. Okay. Uh-huh. Boop, 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 boop. Ba, ba, bum, 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 bum. Oh, there's been a backlash to the Warhammer Adventures, that's for sure. I think they've got to handle it with tact. They've got to be careful at how they handle it for both the community that exists and for the new audience. They've just got to play it carefully, really, and just not go too far in either direction. I am going to be building some Dracothian Guard. Here's some of my previous Dracothian Guard. However, I'm debating whether to build them as Fulminators or as Tempestors. The chat seems to favour the Fulminators, the Lance variant, but I can see advantages to both, and I'm not 100% sold. Do you think the Summer of Slaanesh is a thing? I've been led. I've not been led to believe it's a thing, but I'm under the. I think it is a thing. As for what we'll get model wise, I don't know. It depends on how much it's a cross brand release. So if it's a cross release, we might see Fulgrim, and stuff like that, along with like, the Mortal Slaaneshi army that fits into Hosts of Slaanesh. I don't know what we're going to see. I think we'll probably see some new models, but exactly what I wouldn't like to say because, well, there's a lot of options. Come on. Yeah, there's something for Slaanesh, that's true. We did see that rumour engine, so yeah, we'll get something for Slaanesh, we just don't know what or how much. So there's a Stormcast that has a time displaced copy. Oh god. Oh dear. Literally fight his dark side. Yeah, I suppose he can. If he really wanted to. I mean, it's not something I really have a fancy of doing. I've touched on it briefly, but the thought process with Warhammer Adventures is like, it's an interesting idea. It will be a good way to potentially introduce new people to the lore in a not so dense way, because it's not just the material that's the problem, it's the way the material is presented that can be a problem. Because, like, I mean, I love reading, and I loved reading when I was that age, but I can understand not wanting to troll through a 500-page novel or even a 200 or 300-page novel that often to get the story, and that's going to be considered as well. It's not just like the potential ultra-violence that, well, the ultra-violence of the 41st Millennium and the questionable behaviour of the Mortal Realms. That's got to be considered, and that's got to be treated, but they've also got to, it's also a good way to get people interested, not just in a kid-friendly way, but in a audience-friendly way, because it just helps with reading. Rather than having to read a 400-page paperback to get the story of your favourite characters, well, now you just have this like comic book style thing, and And I think that's a good thing as well. And it'll be good for parents because it's something that they can share, and maybe they'll put in some Easter eggs, sprinkle in some references that the older generation or the current player base will look at and go, I know what that means. I probably won't mention it now, but I know what that means. So yeah, I think it's a good idea and it's a good business move. I think it's just got to be handled the right way, with a bit of tact, with respect to the current canon, but also not overdoing it. Hopefully you keep your secrets. That would be nice. Plastic Herald, that would also be nice. Did you read any of the Mal-Important short stories? Oh god, yeah I did. My favourite, I think, is A Rescued Soul, the Elven one, with Marathi and Malerian having a natter about Elven politics. I really enjoyed that story, so that's my favourite. I probably do know more about 40k lore than actual story. I quite like history, and if I wasn't studying physics as a degree, I'd probably look into studying history. Hell, one day I might study like ancient history. I quite like Roman and Greek history, more so than like medieval. Or well, I've kind of divided on it. Like I quite like I really like the really ancient stuff like Rome, Greece, Egypt, and the like. Then I've got a passing interest in stuff like the Cold War, and that sort of like modern history. I'm sort of a bit all over the place with history. Main failures to give people the wrong feel about the setting. The kids say it's weapons. A guard deserts it, hasn't been excused. Yeah, it's just got to be handled carefully. I don't think it's an objectively bad move. In fact, I think it is a good move. They've just got to handle it carefully, if that makes sense, because they've got to respect the canon and the setting whilst also making it work. Yeah, there is a risk of giving the wrong impression of the setting. Like I say, I think they can do it, and as long as they get the right people overseeing it, I think they can. It's just they've got to be careful. And that's all I have to say about that. It's a Forrest Gump reference, by the way. Egyptian history is pretty cool. Roman is more my shtick, but Roman and Greek and that sort of thing is more my shtick. But Egypt is pretty damn cool. I read the Horrible Histories books when I was a kid, and I found them very interesting. Yeah, I get the concern. I understand why people are concerned about it. I do. I really, really do understand the concerns that people have about the series. Because if they do handle it poorly, it might suck. And if it doesn't respect the canon that exists, well, it will suck. But I'm not going to condemn it until I've read it. And even if it's not great, then it might well all just be non-canon, and thus it's just it's a gateway. It's a path in without being too explicit. I don't know. I reserve judgment until I've read it, or seen it, or whatever. I don't know about price. You can go and look it up. They've got their own website, so if they give the prices on there, you can look it up. Speaking of chaos, I think of a Thousand Suns army. Is there anything you recommend for a fluffy list? There's only so much you can say with the Thousand Suns to stick on fluff. Like, you take Rubric Marines, you take some Psychers, you're done, basically. Building a basic Thousand Suns army without the Zangors is pretty much on fluff. I think they should go down a more ancient Greek aesthetic like the Daughters of Cain trailer, or should they have other influence? Well, they've doubled down on the whole Greek thing, like the Daughters of Cain, and they've also got it with the Adnet Deepkin, because I really think the shields and stuff do look quite Greek in design, and the whole Terrors of the Deep, I don't know. But they always do take from other sources and references. Like, nothing is ever just a rip-off of one setting. So, yes, I think they should, but I think keeping the Greek aesthetic with a twist, that's the way I would do it, is you follow the Greek theme, but then you put a twist on it for every army. So the Daughters of Cain, then they are based off the cult that worship Dionysus, and they have the Medusae and the harpy-like things, but they've added in the twist of it's for a blood god rather, and all the sort of things that they work I don't know. There's twists on the themes. I mean, as long as they keep doing that, I don't have a problem with it. They are non-canon. Okay, if they're not canon, that's fine. So we don't need to try and weave it all in. It'll just be interesting to see how they approach it. Lots of good ideas for the Thousand Suns coming out of the chat here. Far better than anything I could have said, because I don't know them well enough. Like, I love them as a legion in the old days, but I'm not so up on them in the new era. If I'm being 100% honest. What are the chances they don't introduce flares? Pretty high. I don't think they will. Say it once again, that Necron color scheme is pretty sweet. Yeah, it actually reminds me a lot of the color scheme that my old Necron army used to have, because when I bought it off James, it had that color scheme. If James is still here, he'll verify that. It was his color scheme, and then I sort of inherited it, liked it, kept it, maybe put a little bit of spin on it, and then when I sold them on again to Luke, he sort of did the same thing. They kept it with a spin, and they formed so that color scheme is quite close to our group in that we've all, a lot of us have used it. Oh god, have I absolutely bollocks this up? I feel like I've absolutely bollocks this up already. Like, this is not lining up at all. Crap. Oh, well done. You've done an absolutely stellar job of getting this together. Well done, well done. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Right, okay. Time to start again. Yeah, this is the problem with the way I work sometimes, is you just make so many dumb mistakes. Okay. Okay, it's not a missculpt, it is definitely me being an idiot. How did it not even work in Thousand Suns? I actually forget. The details have slipped my mind. Yeah, the AoS universe and the 40k universe are entirely separate. They have the shared Chaos Gods, but the Chaos Gods are subtly different-ish, kinda, in the two universes. There's no such thing as... There is the realm of chaos, but it's not the same as the warp. Come on. Come on, you brute. There you go. There you go. Work with me here. Please. Yeah, they used the end times to wipe the slate clean. They definitely did that. The end times did absolutely wipe the slate clean and allow them to start again. Okay, good. And now you get back on and please go together in a nice, orderly manner. Come on. Come on, don't screw with me. Yes! Aha! Aha! I have fixed it. I have fixed it. Oh. Drake Oaths. Really easy to assemble, unless you're an idiot. Like me. Because this is the second time I've had difficulty building Drake Oaths out of 2. Like, this stage here always does my absolute head in. But there we go. I've got it fixed now. It's all good. It's good. On the plus side, yeah, Gotrek is back, which probably means Felix is back, and I'll be curious to see how Gotrek and Felix survived into the Mortal Realms. So yeah, Rowan doing his... Is Rowan just chief discorder? Like Ben's the mod and Rowan's the discorder, and then you just season in everyone else for flavour. Would it be interesting if the book should tackle the Dark Angels, the Black Templars? I feel like they could do the Black Templars, as long as they slightly didn't show it too viscerally. I think the Black Templars will work, and the Dark Angels will work exceptionally well. Like, could you imagine them doing some sort of Sherlock-esque mystery story plot where they try and where they run across the Dark Angels being all secret and like, oh, I wonder what's going on with those Space Marines. What's up? I don't know. I feel like they could do something with the Dark Angels and the Black Templars, as long as, again, they just handle it with a little bit of tact. Apparently rumours about Felix leading to the Stormcast. Felix the Stormcast. Okay. Maybe. I'll roll with it. Problem is, like, Felix wasn't that much of a warrior. Like, he could fight. Sure, he could fight. He'd survived with Godric Gurnison for 5 minutes. But, yeah. I don't know. Possible, though. Very possible. Actually, probable. Seems a good way to use him. I missed that one. Godric is not allowed to die because the gods find it funny. Yeah, I suppose. Now what? J'affiche ça. Non, j'affiche. Ah, ça, et ça avec les pieds, okay. Can't really see all the conversions people will do the Titans for Adepts Titanics. Aye, that would be interesting. A Night Quest store? Oh, a Night Quest store, I like that. That's a nice lore touch. Okay, I approve of Felix the Night Quest store. Given a quest from Sigmar to find Gotrek and maybe create a better bridge between the dwarves and the God King again. Would you want Tiny Supremacy Arm for Titanicus? Well, if they're gonna introduce Xenos to Titanicus when it goes to 40k, then of course I want to see the Tau get involved in it. Why wouldn't I? Nagash didn't want him, obviously. Fun with autocorrect. Ding. Titanicus 30k, yes it is, but I think they're planning to move it forward. So the expansions to the game will work into the modern era, I believe. I don't remember where I heard that, but I did hear that. So I feel like they are going to move it forward, just not immediately. Excuse me. Where was I? Oh yes. Remember now. Okay, dry run. What do I need to glue? Ok, c'est logique. Tous les trous là, mais pas ça et pas ça. D'accord. Can we agree that Nagash's Disney's Hades is more organized twin? God, I haven't. Have I even seen that movie? Like, I know of it. Like I've read the. I think I've read the book for it. The little pictures of the movie that they did, but I don't remember seeing that particular Disney movie. Though I know the one you speak of. Obviously, it's Hercules. If they bring out Biotitans, that would be pretty damn awesome. Like I hope they do. I hope they do really go into 40k and like push all the races, because like Biotitans and stuff would be super cool. Okay, next thing that needs to go in is the tail. Alright, if I get time, priorities, you know. I don't think they're going to have a Titan, like in the conventional sense of what the Imperium and the Eldari have, but I think they have got constructs that can go toe to toe, and of course they've got their the vaults, the obelisk, the Catan if they get super powered up. They've got stuff that can go toe to toe, but not Titans in the most logical way. Okay, boop. There's the Hierophant and a Harridan. Oof, I do not envy you. Have I faced either of those? I feel like I have faced... have I faced a Harridan? No, I don't think I actually have. No, I haven't. Now because I have a new Titan killer. Well, yeah, they got the big Mega Doom robot at Warhammer Fest, that's true. Come on. Harridan's scary because it flies. That's a very fair assessment. That is a very, very fair assessment. Apparently the size of a Tesseract bowl. I saw it next to a Space Marine and the thing's massive. I haven't seen it next to anything like large, like a Knight or whatever, or a Vault to compare it to, but I can assume the thing's pretty bloody huge. They have the pylons, yeah, that they sort of would function sort of like Titans, I guess. The fact the statement Guardsmen are Titan killers is spoken completely unironically because it's kind of true in 40k these days. It's kind of sad really that your infantry are the Titan killers of your army. I don't know. Seems a bit odd to me. Right, need the tail plate. If they do it by the time it's the closest, I'll probably ever get to open a Titan. That's fair. I mean, I've got a Stomper, but I'm not going to go out and get a Titan myself, I don't think. I might get like an Arvana, or maybe not. Well, a Yivara. I want a Yivara because that thing's just really cool. But I don't know if I get like an Arvana or a Taunar. I said if I bought Pilot, it'd be about 5,000. Ouch. Chaos. Oh God. You know what? Never mind. 6,000 las gunshots. Okay, so about a game then. I'm exaggerating. I know I am, but. Okay, that's got to be kept separate. That's got to be kept separate. Okay, that can go on. That can go on. And then that just leaves that, and that. Okay. Okay, I know what I'm doing now. It's a pretty, to be honest, that this kit is a really, really easy build. There's not much to it at all. It's like super simple. Like the Dracos especially are really easy to build. Especially if you've done them before like I have. You just got to be a bit careful in some of these stages and you're home free. The Falcon's kind of cool. I'm not sure if I'd want one, but then what do I know? Not a lot actually. I don't know that much. Let's get this head on first, because this I can't miss. One day get a Fellblade and a Falcon. One can dream. Yep. Always something to work towards. Always something to work towards. It's good to have goals. It's always good to have goals. Boom, 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 boom. Citadel glue? Yeah, of course it is. I mean, I know people do often buy own brand, but I usually buy Citadel even though I know it's probably not the cheapest way. I don't know. Bit of a purist, I guess. Okay, excellent. So, that's the Dracos itself assembled. Honestly, the idea of the Necrons having a Titan is pretty damn terrifying with how advanced their tech is. They somehow integrate and go into random invasion protocols, then you're boned. Yeah. Yeah, you're boned at that point. Jeez Louise. Yeah, I mean, I used... I think I've used Rebel Glue before, but when it dried up, I just went back to Citadel. And as you know, I've always used Citadel for plastic glue. I varied up my super glue before, but I've always used... GW for plastic glue. My metal glue, I did vary it a bit, but yeah. It's not really that important. So, how much more is there to put on this thing? Or is everything else now dependent on the variant? Okay. So yeah, it's just the normal feet. Shield don't frame, shoulder I can't do until the rider's on. And then we have the weapon. And oh boy, do we need to sort out that weapon choice. Okay, so let's just put the knee pads on, because I can put the knee pads on, that's easy enough. Where's the knee pad? There's the knee pad. Yeah, Necron Titans would be a very interesting, because like, would it be piloted in the same sense that Imperial one is? Would it just be a mega construct? Like, there's a lot of variation involved. It's not the easiest thing to just say, oh yeah, Necron's gonna have a Titan, boom, done. Magnus with a drop pod just... Yeah, Magnus is exceptionally powerful in 30k. That even I can't argue that. And I've not even used him. And I just know he's obscenely powerful. It's one of those things you don't need... Some of the things you don't really need to play to know that Magnus the Red is obscenely powerful. Then I can put the front plate on. Where's the front plate? Now, does it matter which one they get? Because I want to mix this up. Let's go with that one this time, because last time it was the other way around. Yeah, it was the other way around. So let's put this. Imperialis is just teasing. I guess it might be. I haven't really read the Imperial Armor books because I don't use any of them, and I don't even know if the Xenos ever got one. Oh, they must have done. Just quietly. Is that going to fit nicely? Oh, it is. Excellent. Bada bing, bada boom. Still voting Fulminators. I get it. I get why people are voting Fulminators. I don't know. I value maybe I value shooting too highly in this game. Maybe I do, and particularly with Lookout Sir coming in, maybe I really overvalue shooting in this game. Jeez, I needed that. There is the other one. Yeah, there must be, because like the Battle Fortress and stuff has rules, so they had to get them somewhere. So there we go, that's the Draco assembled. There's not much more assembly I can do, and I certainly can't do it until we decide on a rider. So are we talking 30k Mortarian or 40k Mortarian? Just FYI. Or sorry, for our information, not for yours. Right. Oh, sorry. What did you think of sending the Lost Primarchs? I don't particularly know, and I don't particularly care. I mean, what evidence there is suggests that they were rolled into the Ultramarines Legion after being wiped out by, or being decimated and nearly annihilated by the Space Wolves. But there's no hard evidence of that. There's just implication. They had to have been struck from the records for some reason. Whether you want to make that betrayal or whatever, I don't know. Obviously, they can't have just died on campaign, because they'd still be remembered if they just died on campaign. So I'm assuming something got a hold of them, and they had to be put down. Whether they were then integrated afterwards is another debate entirely. 40k. I've not faced 40k Mortarian, but I believe he's not as good as 40k Magnus. I think he's alright. Pretty good even, maybe, but not Magnus level, I believe. Sorry. Let's get you glued down to the base while I'm thinking about it. yeah, like Mortari's relationship with Nurgle is a bit more strained compared to others, because Typhus obviously is top dog in Nurgle's eyes because he was Nurgle's herald. He set the whole Death Guard thing up. He was always Nurgle's favourite. So that's no surprise that if there is some sort of distance between the two. Come on, stay. Stay. Better beat stick, less versatile. That sounds about right. That, for comparing Magnus to Mortarion, one hits harder, but one's got more options. That makes total sense. Okay, I think that's now just going to dry. Assembly done. Excellent. Where are we at? 1 hour 10. In lore, who's the strongest team in Primarch? I don't know if they've ever faced off with each other. I mean, my mind wants to say Magnus, but I'm biased toward Magnus. So, honestly, I don't know. Sorry, not sure. Angron is exceptionally powerful. Yes, Angron is exceptionally powerful. But he's a bit one-dimensional in that he go face and he got beat by one Grey Knight. Kinda. Whereas Magnus got beat by Deus Ex Machina. I don't know. I feel like Angron is strong, but not the strongest. I'm sorry about the repeated yawning, by the way. I got no idea what's happening. I'm not even tired. I'm not tired at all. Oh, Citadel glue dries absolutely stupid fast. Like, that's already done. It's dry. It's stuck. It's been there for 30 seconds, and it's dry. It's not about quick dry time. It's fine. And yeah, Lorgar's power, nobody flipping knows. Nobody knows. Call one live, excellent. Welcome, 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 welcome. Glad you didn't make it. Okay. Is there a mod around who's good at making straw polls? Evening. Is there a mod around who's good at making straw polls? Because there's about 20 people here. I feel like we can settle this debate rather than just have 1 or 2 people contribute. Exams taking the talk. My exams finished my exams finished on Friday. I've been free of exams and I've just been doing channel work. I've recorded 4 videos. Is it? No, I've recorded 3 videos and written another script, and we've been doing all the Discord stuff since Friday. I've been plenty busy. But yeah. Don't worry, Rowan. I'm not going to make you... do we have one who's good at it? No need for poll in your mind. You say Fulminators. I'm not sure. Because I feel like the shooting and suppressing fire could be exceptionally useful, even if they aren't as hard-hitting as Fulminators. And Fulminators only get that one charge. I'm not 100% convinced. I get exactly what you're saying, and I do respect your opinion. It's just... I'm not 100% convinced. Lord God's going to be so powerful it'd have to be banned. Yeah, they're going to make anybody more powerful than Gilliman. I don't think so. I still feel like Gilliman will be the best Primarch throughout all this. I can't see them doing anything different. Do you want to build the other Draco now? Nah. I want to get this rider sorted. Let's get the whole business done with the rider, and then we've got a decision. What are the options? The options are as follows. They are the Fulminators, which is Lances, or Tempestors. I mean, I'm typing them out for you so that you get the right spelling, which is Crossbows. Like, admittedly, Lance Cavalry to me, I love Lance Cavalry. I'm not saying I don't like Lance Cavalry. I'm only saying about the shooting option because my army is built around shooting. It is a shooting army that relies on speed, maneuverability, and controlling the board. So Tempestors suit my army very well. The Lance Cavalry will hit like a 10-ton truck and provide me some defenses, but I don't know. I'm not 100% sure that they're going to work with me in the way I play the game, because I don't play the face rush smash. Yeah. Yeah, this is to add to the army. So I built the Dracoth. Now I need to pick who's going on top of it. So hopefully, if Rowan can get the straw poll to work, which is hit and miss, I'll admit. If he can get it to work, then that's what we're going to do. We're going to have a bit of a vote. And I've got like 25 people here, which is more people than we've got in the Discord and all that stuff. Yeah. And it seems like there's a bit of a mix. Like, there's people saying lances, but some people are saying more shooting. Which one is still alive? But you see me killed off. Well, we don't know who's alive. Like, Khan, Korax, Dawn are probably alive, but we don't know if they're alive. Why not both? Because they cost 55 euros a box. I mean, I could magnetize, but I don't have any magnets. I could build both variants with blue tack, but meh. And I'm not putting eggs in one basket with shooting, that's the thing. I have Vanguard Hunters, I have Vanguard Raptors, Vanguard Paladors, I have Judicators, I have Lord of Kilo. All of them shoot. I've got plenty of shooting options. This is just suppressive fire. Okay, let me give you a little bit of detail on the War Scrolls then, just to help keep you informed. So the Fulminator, which is the Lance, as soon as I find the bloody page, wrong page, here we go. Fulminators are they've both got the same lightning surge attack, I'm not going to discuss that. So they've got 3 attacks, 3s and 3s, rend 1, and damage 3 on the charge, but damage 1 if they don't charge. And they also give +1 to save rolls in the shooting phase, so they have a 2-up save against shooting. The Tempestors, on the other hand, have a basic melee weapon, so 3 attacks, 3s, 4s, no rend, damage 1. But they have a proper ranged attack, which is 12 inch range, 4 attacks, 3s, 4s, no rend, damage 1. And if the unit all fires at one target, then your opponent must subtract 1 from the hit rolls on that unit, making them much, much harder to do damage with. So I can either go for high-powered charging, and with like super tanks that charge super hard but then don't do much else, or I can go for the slightly flimsier ranged attack unit that is also going to cripple enemy units somewhat by making it harder to hit with them. So there are options available for both. It's up to you guys. I mean, I've not even looked at it yet. I just thought I'd give you a bit of a Also, the Tempestors are 20 points cheaper than the Fulminator. I just want to point that out as well. Tempestors are slightly cheaper. There are no battle line benefits either way. So yeah, I'll just go for it. There's 25 of you here, so we can get an answer. Guys, you're not bloody helping. Rowan, there's a time and a place for memes. That's not helpful. Literally 5 out of 8. 5 out of 8. That's not helpful. This is why Rowan's annoying, because he puts meme options in and then people vote for the meme options and I don't get a bloody answer. Yeah, I do love heavy cavalry as well. That's why I've already got 1 unit of it and I'm adding a 2nd. What's the fire warrior of the fire warrior game called? Is it Shasla? Is Case or Case? Depending on how you pronounce it. It's not the same guy as from Fire Warrior, but it's Case or Case, however you prefer. Yeah, Lion's still alive. That's true. That's confirmed. He's alive. Oh, well. Yeah, I mean, if you don't know AoS, you don't know AoS, that's fine. But yeah. It sounds like you're down to whether you play aggressive or defensive. Well, it's kind of that. But my army isn't about straight up rush face, but it's not about stand in a corner and shoot either. It really varies. It's sometimes the way I play the army is about control. So I use Vanguard Raptors to shoot out key units. I use Vanguard Paladors to harass and assassinate. I use Hunters to teleport around the board. My Lord of Kilo does the same thing. And then I have a solid core, which is my Liberators or my Paladins or my Concussors, who can hit really, really hard. And I use the Lord Relictor to teleport them into key positions. So it can be played either way. I'm just worried that the Fulminators, if I play them too defensively, don't get to charge. We should check the poll results. Okay, I'm just going to have to scroll back up through chat, so I'm going to take the chart off the screen for a second while I do that. Bop. Ba-da-da-bum-bum. Poll. Results. 24 votes, so that's basically the entire chat. Well. Well. Okay, I wasn't expecting that. Okay, studio mode. Cue me up the screen cap, will you? Sorry about any lag that's going to happen right now while I set this up. So yeah, sorry about lag. Bum, 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 bum. Bum. Oh, bloody hell. Okay, let's jump over and see how it looks. Okay, that worked fine. I should also get rid of the bloody advert. Okay, that's interesting. I'm going to refresh this as well, just so as I've got it absolutely right. So back, 24 votes in 7 minutes, click next. And you go away, please. Okay. Okay. There's a divide there. There's a divide. How many votes is there in it? Just set the chat screen a sec. 38%, 33%. Interesting. Okay. Well, that's intriguing. Honestly, with the people, I mentioned this in the Discord earlier, and people were like, and the other people who mentioned up was like, Fulminators. And then we go to the stream vote, and it seems like the Tempestors have gone out, which is interesting. And to be honest, if I was left complete to my own devices, I'd have probably picked Fulminators. Picked Tempestors. Yeah, I mean, Fulminators was a Herald Or, okay, yeah, that's a pretty nasty combo. But bearing in mind in the new edition, you're going to be getting command abilities to do that as well. Yeah, true. There are some really good combos with Fulminators, I'll agree. I mean, the 29% of you who voted for bloody... the bloody meme option, not helpful voting for the meme option. I mean, I could ask Rowan to redo it without the meme option, but it's probably not worth it. I mean, who knows? It could. I mean, to be fair, 29% with its only 5% difference could swing it. But I don't trust Rowan not to put a meme option, and I don't trust you lot not to pick the meme option. You meme obsessed memers. That sounded so much better in my head. I'm bad. I'm bad today. Oh, I thought you. I thought you'd actually spelt it wrong deliberately. I didn't realise you'd done it by accident. Oh, there is a no meme option. Okay, we're going to have a no meme option. So this is going to go away now. Well, Rowan, You, well, Rowan, you proved me wrong. You did put a no meme option in. Well done. Prefer ranged defensive tactics, that's fair. Like, I get both sides of the argument, I do. I get like why Tempest is so useful, but I also get why the Fulminators are so powerful as well. I really do see both sides, so I'm not going to be butthurt about picking one side over the other. I'm really not going to be butthurt about it. I'm just curious to see what you guys think. And don't worry, if it is like 20% one way, if it's 20% over one way, I will pick that option, even if I'm unsure. So I'll just let you get some votes and then I'll check it as it gets to the top of the feed. Oh, I'm sure, yeah, Fulminators are scary, it's just you've got to use them correctly, and I don't know if my way of playing suits them. That's all. Actually, this would be a good moment for me to take a quick break. We've gone for an hour and a half now, and an hour and a half has absolutely flown by, for the record. So I'm going to take a quick break, get a snack, fill up half a glass of pop, and then I'll come back and have a look at the poll results. Well then. Well then. That was exceptionally conclusive. Alright. Well, decision made then. And we're back. Let me just drop that. Actually, I'm just going to go back and... Oh, I've had a couple extra ones since it's come in. Have we? Let me just refresh that. Make sure it's completely bang up to date. Okay, yeah, it's becoming even more. Okay, right, that's been one. Alright, well, there we go. So I guess I'm adding Tempesters. And I'm not complaining. Like, I'm not complaining about that. Actually, that was probably the choice I would have made anyway. So, yep, absolutely fine with me. Thank you very much, chap. You've cleared that one up for me, and I'm glad that that was the case. And if you're all in the Discord right now, then fine. I'm not in the Discord right now. I've closed my Discord app down, so I've not actually seen it. But I guess we're going with the crossbowman. So, I need that one as well. Hang on. Oh, bloody hellfire. This is a bit more complicated than it looks, isn't it? So, which one's you? Which one's you? 42, 43, and 44. Right, okay. Okay. 42, 43, 44. So that's you. The one downside to Stormcast Cavalry actually is the fact they come with these massive cloaks, but then you can't put the cloaks on if you want to paint the entirety of the armor. It's a little bit annoying. I'm actually going to try it with this model, see if I can actually get the cloak on with the armor and make it work. Ah! Ow! Let me stab myself on a frame there. Yeah, if I put that on... No, I can make that work, and they'll be buried away anyway. Alright, I can make that work. I can make that work. How many Stormcast do you have in the collection already? I am, by doing the Vanguard Paladors, I think I've just come up to about 4,500 points. Give or take, 4,500. This is going to take me now to ergo 4,750, and then 5,000 if I get anything else. How often are you speaking English? On my own time, I'm always speaking English, but in terms of out and about stuff, very rarely. The only time I've spoken English in terms of class has been a couple of labs. So I've done 2 labs where they were in English. Other than that, I don't think I've certainly not had any lecture courses that were in English. And like when I'm in the shops and things like that, I have to speak French. So generally it's only if I'm talking to myself, which is probably more often than I'd like to admit, but if I'm talking to myself, then I'm speaking in English. Other than that, I'm pretty much speaking in French, with a few rare exceptions. How many English speaking students? Well, that's interesting. That's interesting because at the moment, the French in physics, the French students are all getting mandatory English classes. So they get one module in 3rd year, which is Licence 3, and then in Master 1, which is the year I'm in, or that I've joined this year, they get another semester of English classes. So they all know at least some English, but in terms of English speaking, there's a difference between can speak some English and is English speaking. A lot of the European students who come over here are, well, probably trilingual. So they speak their own language and then they'll speak French and English. And I found quite often that their English is slightly stronger than their French. At least, well, actually no, that's a lie. It completely varies. Like some of the students I've spoken to, I've not spoken a word of English to. Some I've only spoken in English to. It really, really varies. So you're adding the new Stormcast? Yeah. Flip, yeah. I wouldn't have added these guys if I weren't adding the Sacrosanct here, but this is just me tiding myself over until the Sacrosanct Chamber came out. How many Stormcast models? Oh, right, hang on. 25, 35, 45, 50, 55, 70, 76, 80, 86, 87, 88, 89, about 100-ish, 100-ish. Do you value your time studying abroad? Oh. Let me answer the other question and then I'll come back to that. There's one much of fan base in France. It seems to be... I mean, looking at my analytics, it's much bigger in England and Germany. The French viewer count is a lot lower than the German and the English viewer count. That much is true. Though that's not to say there's no community here. I mean, there's a like my Games Workshop here in Grenoble is relatively busy, and you can always get a game. So it does have a fan base, but it's not a huge fan base relative to other places. The colour scheme is the Sons of Malice. So black armour, gold trim, and a purple spot colour. So, as regards the year abroad, now that I've basically finished, I mean, I've just got one lab report and resits left to do. Do I value it? Yeah, I think in terms of what I've learned a lot. It's been good to adapt to a new education system, I'll agree to that. And some of it has been pretty interesting. However, coming from Manchester, like one of the best schools for physics in Europe, in Britain, Europe, maybe even the world, it is a bit of a step down. And the system is very bureaucratically bad. Like it's disorganized, it's inconsistent. It has its problems. I think it will really depend on what you want to get out of your year abroad. If you're coming strictly academically in science, you might be better off at home. I can't speak for every subject because obviously I don't know people in every subject, but in physics, I would have been better off staying home academically. Socially, that will depend on the country and on you as a person and where you're coming from. Financially, it's actually been good. Financially, I'm better off financially here than I am at home because I've been able to be self-sufficient, like rent included. But I feel like academically and socially, France is not where England is. I'll say that. That's not to say it's bad. It's not to say you shouldn't do it if you want to do it. But I don't know if it's the best thing academically to do. The education system's not that different. I mean, physics is physics at the end of the day. But they're still on blackboards. Their online setup is far weaker. There's a lot less communication as it feels like it. The exams are much, much longer, but they seem to be quite easy-ish. But then they also don't do the same amount of preparation for them, so you feel a bit screwed and blind going in. It's just really inconsistent. Yeah, it ripped my wallet. I'm aware of how expensive everything's going to be. But hey, that's part of the hobby. It's the perks of the hobby. You know it's going to be expensive. You expect it to be expensive, so you just go with it being expensive. Okay, that works. I did play the GW at Manchester back at home, though obviously I haven't been there for a full 12 months. And when I'm back there with my Stormcast, I will be getting games in, hopefully, from time to time, but I can't promise how much I'll be there because, well, masters, priorities, always priorities. Okay, now, crossbow. Ba-da-bum-bum. Ba-dum-bum. Any tips for hobbying at uni? How do you mean? Could you just clarify what you mean? So I've got one that's up and one that's down. They have this one, the one that's up. I want this one to be the one that's down, actually. So the one that's down is 73. Buy food before hobby. Yeah, that goes without saying. Like, live first, hobby later. Instead of going full doctor. I'm not planning to do a PhD. If you're asking, like, am I doing a PhD? The current thought process is no. I'm not planning to do a PhD right now. Not to say I won't, but the idea of doing, like, of being a researcher doesn't appeal to me the same way. Like, I enjoy doing, like, science, and I enjoy the aspects of science that I study, but it doesn't, I don't know. I feel like research isn't what I'm super good at. I don't know. Personal taste. Hobby in general is gaming, painting, spending money. Effectively, just budget your time and your actual money. Like, put a bit of money aside, or if you've got, just plan. Basically, just plan it out. So I'm going to spend an hour here hobbying, but only after I've done my homework. Yeah, just be reasonable about it. Don't be an idiot. Think about it logically. Make sure that your work's getting done. Plan out your projects, things like that. Yeah. To be fair, there's 3 armies I want coming out. Like the Daughters of Cain as well. I like the Daughters of Cain. And if they drop any more elves, I'm going to want them as well. So, to be fair, even before the Sacrosanct got announced, I was already utterly boned. There is no change in me being utterly boned between... Does this one have a bloody extra joint? No. Yeah, I can see the perks, but if you're wanting to teach at A level, I can see why they'd want you to have a doctorate. I can. Actually, I should probably put this joint in first. Then I know what I'm working with angles. Oh, bloody hell. You do realise getting that sword back through customs would be basically impossible, Rowan. I mean, a top hat's a top hat, but getting the sword through customs would be a bit of a pain in the arse, I would wager. Come on, you stupid glue. Get out of the nozzle. Nozzle's jammed. I don't know about like people coming to Manchester because I'm not, well, I've been away from the system for one, and I've not looked into the postgraduate stuff because I'm not thinking of really doing it. I mean, if they'll let you in, by all means do that. I don't know how it works. I mean, people will come in. People will come in to as postgrads. That's definitely a thing. I don't know what the numbers are, but it's a thing that happens. No. You don't need to ask. I don't consider this to be not chill. Like, it's still fine and chilled out. It's just a genuine question. It's a fair question. I'm not going to begrudge you your curiosity, God no. If I begrudge people their curiosity, then what kind of world will we live in? Yeah, that new Keeper of Secrets model will probably break a few people's bank accounts for a week or two, just given how popular it will be. Do. Bum, 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 bum. Okay, is that good? Oh, Hellfire. Okay, that's close enough. All right, good. Good. What is your favourite army to play against? Well, to be fair, I've only played against about 3. That being Slaves to Darkness, Seraphon, and then I played a mixed game against other Chaos stuff and Destruction, and that I didn't really get to do much in, so I don't really have an answer for you, I'm afraid. Do you think Khorne might get a second pass after Slaanesh, given how that it was very sparse in terms of Nurgle and Tzeentch? Well, Khorne kind of got their release in several goes, so the Bloodbound got a big pile of stuff, and then they got rolled into Blades of Khorne later, so they have plenty of stuff. It might be, in terms of like the power of one update, a bit sparse versus Nurgle and Tzeentch, but I feel like they got the same amount of stuff just over a longer period of time. Also, let's get this rider's head built. Just whilst I'm thinking. Uh-oh. Hang on. Why? Oh, I know why. Okay, that makes sense now. Had a minor panic there about shoulder pads, but then I remembered what the problem was and how to fix it. There. Oh, I'm at 40k. No idea. Honestly, no idea. What do you think of the Necron lore? It's fine. Like, I'm not a huge fan of it, but I then don't have a problem with it. It's just there, really. It's just there. Yeah, the reason I thought you were asking about AoS is just because you played Khorne yourself in AoS, so I didn't know if that's what you meant, so my bad. I wouldn't say it's my favourite. Like, I quite like the Tau and the orcs and stuff like that. So I'm not going to say they're my favourite, but I do get why they're liked, but I also get why they're not liked. It kind of varies. Both the shoulder things on here, yes they are. So which one does this one need? This one needs the sun. Yeah, it is the one with the sun. Okay, yeah. Selection Corn, yeah, like if you think there's going to be an Emperor's Children and World Eater Codex, then they'll undoubtedly get something. I just don't know if they will. It's hard to know. Well, it's hard for me to know for sure, and I'm not 100% on it. Okay. Do I want to put the head on? No, I feel that will block too much to put the head on, so I'll keep the head separate, keep the shield separate, keep the blade separate. I mean, how's the blade going to go on? This one goes this way. It's quite high in stuff. I can make it go. Wherever it is, I can make it go. Yeah, that's how it goes. That's too blocking. That's blocking too much. I need to do that last. Okay, so blade stays off, head stays off, shield stays off. Other than that, that's fully built. Okay, it's that model built. Lovely. Reckon Emperor's Children campaign book might come out after the Dexes are done. Plausible. Possible. Absolutely possible. Still hoping for Leia. I think the Leia are kind of a bit too dead for that. I mean, never say never, but I don't think so. Personally, I don't think so. But I rule nothing out. Anyway, I've kind of come to the natural end. I haven't talked about AoS 2 hardly at all, just because we were having the endless debate regarding this cavalryman. And then we just had a bunch of other little discussions going on, so I realised I haven't talked about AoS 2 basically at all. But I've kind of come to the natural conclusion of things I wanted to do on this stream. So if you guys have anything you want to discuss, any questions, if there's particular topics, I know there's a lot of people who are in here who are on the Discord, and so know a lot of the stuff about AoS 2, but don't hesitate if you are someone who wants my thoughts on AoS 2. Say, could you talk about this topic? Could you talk about this topic? And we'll have sort of like 15 minutes, half an hour, we do that sort of thing, and then I'll call it off, and I might retire to the Discord, and you can join me there. I might stay and go into a call, or just go into the relevant text chat. I don't know. I'm not sure. It depends on how my voice is doing. Thinking about playing Seraphon, is it a good time to start, or should I wait for second edition? I would say wait for the edition if you haven't got the models already. If you want to play the Seraphon, buy the Battle Tome by all means. But if you're wanting to play something powerful, wait for the new edition, see what takes your fancy, and go for it then. But if you are set on playing Seraphon, well, you might as well buy the book now, because the book isn't changing. The cost of the book will change, so you can't buy the General's Handbook, wait for that. But if you want the army, buy the Battle Tome, because they're not changing. The poll went crossbow, actually. So we've got a unit of Tempestors coming along now, which I wasn't expecting, but we've got. What do you think about the faction focus that they've been churning out? They're not that in-depth in terms of new stuff. That they give little hints, and they talk about a bit of lore, which I like. I like there's a bit of lore in there. And the interview is kind of nice for new players starting out or whatever. But in terms of like actual lore insights, there's not in terms of rules insights, there's not a huge amount there in many cases. I think that it's a good way of doing it. Instead of just going, here's some rules, here's some rules, here's some rules. It's here's how the rules affect you going forward, and you can then look back at your faction focus and the stuff with the armies and the rules. I think it's a good way of doing it, but the fact that they're releasing the rules in bit part along with the faction focuses means that we don't have all the facts yet. So maybe it could have been nice to have a week of rules and then we go into the faction focuses. I don't know, maybe a week of rules and a week of rules and lore. So there was a lore article on all of the armies, like just talking about the basics, who their heroes are, who they fight for, why they fight. And then next week, once they've got all the rules laid out for us, they start doing the faction focuses for those who care. Unfortunately, that has the problem of people stop caring about the releases because the faction focuses don't really introduce as much stuff. So I agree with the way they're doing it, but it does mean that if you're getting an early faction focus, you are missing a lot of the detail. So good, but not perfect. But understandable. Yeah, this is the problem when you have an army that has entirely got power weapons. It becomes a little bit hard to balance them as well. Especially when you already have demons. In the Khorne faction, they spoke about Chaos Warriors and Chaos Lord and Manticore as the main units for a really cool combo, even though these would have to be allied in. Does this bode badly? Hard to say, because those things that you can do to Chaos Warriors, what's to stop you doing them to Blood Warriors? I mean, yeah, okay, allying a Chaos Lord and Manticore to get a super combo, fine. But a lot of the other combos, like the Khorne Lord on Juggernaut, that's part of it, and those sorts of things. So yeah, it might not be ideal, but the Bloodbound can do plenty of stuff already. It's just Khorne as an army and all of the gods, that's the point of them. Is that the way that they're organised now, the Blades of Khorne, Disciples of Tzeentch, Magakin of Nurgle, is that they don't have to rely on themselves. They're designed to be a nice mélange of units. Oh god. They're designed to work together, mortal and demon together. If you want to run them separately, they'll come with their own bonuses, like mortal units being affected or demon units being affected. But the Bloodbound can stand on their own 2 feet. I know I fought them, but they get better when comboed with other Slaves to Darkness Khorne units with other Demons of Khorne units. That's all it is. 40k armies that you're tempted to build that you don't already have. I mean, I had a passing moment with Drakari, but probably not. No, I don't think so. Change the basic spells. Aha, the nerfs. Okay, so what's happened is Arcane Bolt has been nerfed from doing D3 mortal wounds to doing 1, unless you roll a 10+ to cast, and then you do deal D3 again. So that's a major-ish nerf that means that for the majority of the time when you cast an Arcane Bolt, you get the low roll. That's basically like having most of your Arcane Bolts be the low roll, and only your best results being the high roll. So it's a reasonable nerf, but it just means that there's a lot of spells that are like Arcane Bolt but worse, and there's a lot of them scattered across a lot of different battle tomes that are like Arcane Bolt but worse. So by nerfing Arcane Bolt, they're like Arcane Bolt but better. Therefore, you're encouraged to use those War Scrolls. I think that's a decent change. As for Mystic Shield, they've changed that from +1 save to reroll 1s to save. Now, certain units will get a lot more out of this. Units with a 3+ save, a 2+ save, for example, go from a 1+ that meant nothing to a 2+ rerolling 1s, which is better. If you're on a 6+ save, however, you're going from a 5+ save to a 6+ rerolling 1s, and that's garbage. So it's a quite heavy nerf to Mystic Shield, and there's not as many defensive spells in the game. Well, there's less spells that work like Mystic Shield but better, or like Mystic Shield but worse. So it will be interesting to see what spells get introduced or worked to fill the void of Mystic Shield. I'm not sad to see get nerfed because it was like the most used spell, because it encourages now for you to think about what's on your war scroll. Because in the past you might have just said, right, what is the cheapest way I can get an Arcane Bolt caster or a Mystic Shield caster or both into my army? What is the fastest way and cheapest way for me to do that? Now you look at every wizard on their own merit. What abilities do they have? What's on their war scroll as their unique spell or spells? That sort of thing. Yeah. So that's what I think. I think it's a good change. It's a well-intentioned change, but it might have consequences. And there's one raised in the chat there, because some armies don't have the same range or customization. Well, there's a thing for that. It's called the realm spells, as I'm terming them. Basically, if you fight within a certain realm, they mentioned Heish, for example, you get access to an entirely new lore. So that might be the lore of light, the lore of fire, the lore of beasts, the lore of death, whatever it happens to be. You'll get access to what I think are actually the old spells brought back. So banishment has been name dropped, for example. So you'll get access, I think, to 6 unique spells and the super spell for that realm. I'm curious as to whether the super spells will work in other realms, but I'm thinking that they'll only work in their own realm, which means that you basically have an entire lore of magic for you to use, provided you're playing within a certain realm. Unfortunately, we don't know how that's going to work in mapped play. As in, do you roll off for which realm you're going to be playing in? Do you just agree gentleman's agreement with your opponent what realm you're going to play in? Do the TOs decide? If it's an active campaign, then yeah, that's the thing you can do. Yeah, some armies don't have as that much access to magic, but then some armies have no magic whatsoever. But I do get the logic. I do get the logic. Banishment is a brutal spell, because it basically teleports a unit miles away. And it is savagely powerful. It's not that long a range, but you just say, right, there's a unit coming from my face and it's massive. Nope. Plonk. And you just plonk it miles away in another corner of the board. It's horrible. Some armies will get utterly crapped on by it. I don't know if I approve, but then again, with the amount of teleporty chicanery that some armies can do, cough Seraphon, cough Stormcast, cough Sylvaneth, cough Summoning, with the amount of stuff they can do, Banishment is basically a counter to those combos. So it's not just like taking a unit away from the fight that's been buffed up to charge the next turn. It's also a way of dealing with emergency arrivals that you don't have the resources to deal with right now because they've just arrived in the middle of your lines and have just smashed something. Well, now you can say, right, you F off to the other side of the board and you can come back later. So I get the problem that that spell could cause, but I also get why it's there, because imagine you just drop an entire Stormcast block right in front of your opponent's face and you whiff a couple of charges. Well, now you can take the unit that whiffed its charges and it's at the back of the board, and then it's not going to be a problem for you for 2 or 3 turns. Sure, you can go and cap an objective now, or it can be whizzed around if there are other teleporter chicanery things in play, but it doesn't stop. It stops them being a problem right now. I admit it is potentially busted, but it's something to consider. Seeing the special power again now locks in the command ability seems to be about putting a single unit on crack with a load of points. Well, if you spend a load of points, you can make a unit utterly insane. But if you have aura abilities on, or you have pick multiple units on, yeah, I get the problem. I do see the risk, but to be fair, if you're putting the command points onto a unit and then banking on going into another turn, that's dangerous, because generally you'll put the buffs onto a unit to charge in on the turn they're going to charge. Because if you put them on the turn before, well, you'll have another turn before they get to charge. So you've got to recast those abilities anyway. And if you're doing it and then you're going into your opponent's turn, I don't know. If you're doing it to prepare for your opponent to do something to you, like countercharge you, or whatever, then yeah, it's very, very annoying. But if you're playing offensively with command traits, you're using them to attack that turn. And if you're doing it that turn, then they can't teleport you away. So you'll still get a chance to smash something in. Even if it doesn't kill what it's going into, it can do a lot of damage before it gets blitzed away. So it's not a total bust. If it's a defensive unit, it's like it's a 50-man wall that's been buffed with Mystic Shield, and it's in cover, and I don't know, it's got a hit debuff on it. Yeah, blitzing that to the back of the board, that's a nightmare. But on the offense, it's actually not as bad as you might think. At least not in combo with command points. Banishment affects... oh, yeah. Yes, I mean, you have to put them more than 9 inches from your units and more than 24 inches from the caster. That's how the spell works. So you've got to make sure that they're far enough away from the caster to make that happen. But yeah, fair point. It could be fun, but to be fair, if that spell is busted, then TOs will just say you can't play in Heish because of that spell, or they'll ban that spell. Anything else? Just while I'm thinking about it. Because I talked about a lot of the stuff that's gone on in the My Thoughts On video yesterday. That the only things I didn't were the magic change and Look Out Sir, pretty much. So yeah. Oh, bloody hell. Jeez Louise. Sorry. Deary me. We don't know about the realms thing yet. I think we just need to wait and see. Does it sound that most crimes will have at least one crimes? Will have at least one battalion. The point for them may drop the point. Spells are probably not going to be available in match play. We'll see about that. Like they were only in narrative before, but I feel like keeping them for matched might be fun. I feel like forcing them not to be in matched would be unfair because you could build entire armies around the laws. I don't think you could. I would wait and see on the Giant Dragon. I mean, I wouldn't be doing that. Slash just runs back. Yes, then actually stupid fast. Ay. Is it 10 o'clock? Yeah, it's 10 o'clock now. Okay. So yeah, if there's no more, I'll go for another like 5 more minutes just because I know the chat's on a bit of a delay. But are there any more questions or ideas or things that want chucking out? I kind of hope the realms are decided by the armies you play, like a big table alliances style. Yeah, that would be interesting, but then not every army's faced every other army, because Sylvaneth basically only live in Gyron. Pretty much. The Stormcast can go anywhere. Death is kind of everywhere, but mainly focused on Shaiish. The Daughters of Cain are a little bit everywhere, but mainly in Ulgu. The Ideneth are all over the place. The Fire Slayers are primarily in Atchi, but they're also all over the place. But the Sylvaneth are very concentrated. The Seraphon can go anywhere. Chaos varies by faction, but they're also kind of everywhere. It would be an interesting way of doing it, but it would be exceptionally awkward for some of the matchups. Like, where do Nurgle and Slaanesh fight, for example? The Realm of Chaos, that doesn't have rules. The Realm of Shadow, that's Slaanesh's turf, because they're hunting for Slaanesh. Gyron, that's more Nurgle's turf. Do you find a neutral ground? It's just not perfect. It's a good idea though. I like the idea, and if someone does that as a thing they can do as their own pet project, yeah, I'd be down with that. Yep. Yeah, that was good. I'm glad you guys went with Tempesta, by the way. I'm glad you went with that. because that was what I was going to go for if it was up to me. So I'm glad you went with it in such overwhelming numbers that I didn't even have to think about it. So, tar much. Forget how much what sitting around for 2 hours does to me. It just makes me tired. It makes me yawn, but not tired. It's like my brain is still working at 100 miles an hour, but I'm yawning for no good reason. Thinking it won't be match play, they seem to be narrative unless it's decided beforehand. Yeah, perhaps. I think we'll wait and see on it. I think it'll be cool for them to be in match play, but I've got no idea how they balance it. So I think it will probably stick to narrative, even though I'd love to see it in matched. Looking forward to coming back to the UK? Yes! Because I haven't seen any of my friends in 6 months. Well, 5 at this point. Because I saw some people at New Year's and around Christmas, but then I left on the 6th of Jan, so I've not seen anybody face to face since then. Be good to catch up with the family, if no else, and just be back home, where the shops close at a reasonable hour, and I don't know. I'm all right with it. I'll be glad to be home. I'll be glad to be home. Yeah, I'll say that. I make it sound horrible, like Francis. Oh my god, like Francis, some sort of nightmare. It's not. It's not been the best year. It's not been my favourite year, but I can't complain too much. But I will be glad to be back. I'll say that. I'll be glad to be home. That's a little bit harsh. So now this is James Seekers, a 14-inch move, 2 dice running control at the same time. Flip. The cigarettes, I'll agree with you. The French smoke a lot more than we do in Britain. That's very, very true. Anywho, it's 10 past 10. The stream is going for about 2.25 hours. I've got everything I wanted to do done. I've got the model done as far as possible, and we had the choice made on the model, which is good. We had a bit of a discussion and good talk, which I really appreciate, and you guys were always great as always. So I'm going to call it a stream. I'm going to call it a stream here. I do hope you've enjoyed it and coming out and catching up. It's always a pleasure. And yeah, so that's all. So Rowan will probably be putting the Discord in 1 or 2 more times once as I leave and as we finish here. So if you want to join me over there, I'll be about. We can discuss some of the things we really discussed in full length, and I might jump into a voice call in a little bit. Just want to let my voice recover a little bit before I do that. So, with all that said, thank you very much for coming out. It's always a pleasure speaking to you guys, and I hope that you enjoy the stream as well. Thank you very much for watching Tactica Imperialis, and I'll see you the next time. I'll see you all again. Good night, folks.